Hello, welcome to the Boston Conservatory at Berkeley's 360 virtual tour. My name is Tristan Serpa. I use he series pronouns, and I'm a current senior at the conservatory. Today, we'll be talking about and looking at multiple buildings, classrooms, and practice rooms here on campus, as well as taking a stop inside current classes. So follow me and let's get started. Welcome to 8th Fenway. This is our main building here at the conservatory campus. This is where our music division offices are, as well as 3 different performance venues. We have our Zack Box Theater, which is the Black Box Theater, Sully Hall, and Houston Hall. We also have our library located here, as well as different classrooms and practice rooms for students of all divisions to utilize. Welcome to the Hemingway Building. Here we have our theater and dance division offices, as well as the box office, large ensemble spaces, and dance studios. We also have our main stage theater, in which students are performing in faculty-directed shows. Let's go check it out. This is our main stage theater here on campus. We have students performing off campus in locations like Harvard University Sanders Theater and the Boston Symphony Hall. But most of our other performances happen in venues on campus, such as the Zack Box, which is our Black Box Theater, Sully Hall, and Houston Hall. Welcome to the Richard Ortner Studio Building, otherwise known as Ipswich. In here, we have different large ensemble spaces, dance rooms, classrooms, practice rooms, and private studios for all divisions here on campus. Welcome to 24 Fenway. The main residence halls where conservatory students live are 24 Fenway, 26 Fenway, 32 Fenway, 40 Fenway, and 54 Fenway. There are rooms ranging from a single all the way up to a quint with 5 students in it. This room is a quad that houses 4 students. Welcome to the Berkeley Cafeteria. This is one of 4 places on campus where students can use their meal plans to get food. There are a lot of options for students to choose from, like vegan and vegetarian options, all the way up to common allergen-friendly foods. Additionally, at night, this space also becomes a place for student-run productions known as CAF shows. I hope you enjoyed the Boston Conservatory at Berkeley virtual tour. If you have any questions or you'd like to book a tour in person, you can visit us here at the admissions office. Thank you for joining us.
Broadcast right now and head over to apply for the Boston Conservatory at Berkeley School myself. Oh my goodness. What an incredible video. How exciting that was. It took me back to my own days just watching it. I mean, I didn't go to BOCO, but just reminding, any of us that have been in the creative and performing arts where we went to college, just the atmosphere. It was just so reminiscent of my own experience. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Richard Trujillo. I'm the artistic director at the San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts, and we are delighted to have admissions officer Zachary Sahms here with us from Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. And we're thrilled to have you here, Zach. Welcome to our little program.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I am equally as excited to be here. Richard knows since we've been chatting, but I actually grew up in Bonita, California. So y'all are right, almost basically in my backyard growing up. So it's kind of a small world moment, right? It's like, how do you expect someone from San Diego to now be in Boston talking to you, right? So kind of wild. So I'm equally as excited to hang out and chat with y'all today. So thank you so much again for having me.
Awesome. For those of you that don't know, Zack and I were talking a little bit about SCPA. We started the conversation with him saying, hey, by the way, I grew up like a stone's throw from there. I had no idea the school had even existed. Can you tell me about SCPA? So that's how we started today's conversation prior to us going live. But we're here to talk about Boston Conservatory because a lot of our students, a lot of our families, they're interested in the post-secondary. And I think that one of the questions that always comes up is it worth pursuing the arts at the post-secondary level? Now, from our perspective, we're always saying absolutely, without question. You should be pursuing, because number one, you're going to join 32% of adults. Let me repeat that. You're going to join 32% of adults in the United States who have an undergraduate degree, should you get one. And we all know what the socioeconomic trajectory can look like for a student with just an undergraduate degree alone. But more importantly, there are other connectors, there are other factors now that are weighing into why an arts degree at the post-secondary level can be so worth it. So, Zach, can you talk to us a little bit about, the kind of students that are coming to the Boston Conservatory at Berkeley and what they're seeking holistically? Yeah,
absolutely. And, maybe we'll start broad and I'll focus in a little bit on the school, but I think you raise a great point where, I think many people are a little hesitant about, well, really, you're going to go into the arts, I think partially because of, we're not in the best economic time, so it can be seen as a risk, right? But really, and again, we were chatting about this before we went live, but I always like to mention to people that, the music industry is not just performing, recording, and writing, whether that be music, dance, theater, which are the areas we specialize in. But the music industry is such a broad area. I mean, Richard and myself are in the music industry. So there's such a wide area. I mean, you have management, admin, everything, instrument repair, it's such a wide industry. So the idea that if I get an arts degree in, cello or dance, all I can ever do in life is dance or do cello is totally not true. There's so many transferable skills you learn from music. And especially if we're talking about getting, a post-secondary degree, if you're coming out of high school, there are so many skills that are, we call them like soft skills, you're learning communication, you're learning how to time manage, you're learning how to work with others, you're learning performance, you're learning how to speak because you need to be able to speak before you perform, talk about pieces in a way that's presentable. You learn how to be on time to things, you learn how to prepare. These are things I'm sure, you're already getting this preparation at, SCSCPA, being artists already. But all of those skills transfer into anything you want to do. Like growing up, both my parents are actually doctors, but they have many colleagues in the medical industry who did undergrad degrees in music or double majored in music and bio, because it's highly sought after by places like medical schools because they look at that and they say, okay, this person knows how to work on a deadline. This person knows what it's like to be under pressure. They know how to perform and speak to people and probably be friendly, right? So you have a good bedside manner. So, the arts, I always encourage people, if you see yourself, you are already artists, being here at this program. But if you kind of look forward in life, which is kind of tough, I remember I only recently graduated as a master's student, so I can pretty closely remember even going into my undergrad, which can be a big deal, and it's kind of hard to think that far out. But even if you can kind of just get that initial idea, like maybe the window's foggy when you're looking that far in the distance, but if you see arts and you're like, I have to be performing, or I have to be somehow in the dance or theater or music industry, somewhere in that realm, then somewhere like Boston Conservatory is the place for you, because we are so intensely focused on, a performance art and really giving you focused expert training on that. Really, you will be doing arts all day, every day. So another way I kind of like to help people kind of feel out, well, should I really go and do an arts degree? I definitely had moments in band in high school. I went to Bonita Vista High School just down the street from y'all. But I definitely had days where I was like, man, I wish I could just have band class every class. That's a little bit what it's like being at a conservatory. We are, of course, we have fully accredited degrees. So you do have to take a bit of, social sciences, humanities, math and sciences. But really the primary focus of your day, really every day, is you're in rehearsal, you're in a lesson, you're in chamber ensembles, you're, rehearsing on outside events. So if you're someone who's like, man, I wish I could just do arts all day, those are the kind of people that really thrive at the conservatory. I hope that covered that question. That was a long, one.
It does, man. No, listen, I loved your answer. Your answer speaks right to the heart of a lot of our talking points. It just helps to validate and elevate everything that we're trying to do at SCPA as well. Hey, so Boston Conservatory, Berklee College of the Arts. We have grown up around SCPA thinking that they're two completely different entities. And recently, there's been kind of a marriage of these incredible minds.
Yeah.
So, Zach, can you kind of help us out with what's been the latest journey with these two institutions and how are they working symbiotically?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually interesting. It's a big reason why I went to the conservatory when I did. In 2016, the conservatory formally merged into, we call it like the broader Berklee network. So there's Berklee College of Music. There's also Berklee Online, which is really cool because Berklee Online is fully degree granting. It's not kind of just like an online certification kind of thing. It's like a full legit Berklee faculty degree granting thing. So sorry, Berklee College of Music, Berklee Online, and also we have a Berkeley campus in Valencia, Spain, which actually as undergrad music majors can go take a semester abroad now in Valencia, which is pretty cool. It's a very snazzy campus. So if that sounds cool, check out the pictures because it's like it looks like a hotel or something. It's really snazzy. But yeah, so basically in 2016, Berklee and Boston Conservatory merged while retaining their individual entities. So if you apply to Boston Conservatory at Berklee, you are still getting a Boston Conservatory degree. So, when you leave, it will say Boston Conservatory at Berklee. Whereas, if you apply to the college, you'll have one that says Berklee College of Music. So, yeah, and it was really one of the big reasons I was interested in joining because, I'm a French horn player and, I grew up doing band, wind ensemble, marching performance, brass quintet. But I've always had a lot of other musical interests. I play guitar and ukulele. I play jazz bass in the jazz band. I've always kind of dabbled in, recording and kind of stuff like that. So what really appealed to me was, okay, I can go to somewhere that is a true conservatory, like contemporary conservatory training, where you're getting that really in-depth foundational attention. But I can also hop across the street and cross-registering courses now at Berklee College of Music, which is arguably one of, if not the best places in the country to go do things like record, or they have film scoring, or they have, mastering classes. You can also just like meet up in the library with people and they're like, cool, yeah, I'll show you how to use Ableton, or I'll show you how to use Logic. So that kind of ability to kind of just walk across the street as a student and no questions asked for the most part, if it's in your course load, you can go take electives at Berklee, and it's at one of the best places in the world to do it. Not just, they have it. It's like, well, no, it's like the people teaching these courses are legends in their areas. So the merger really from a student perspective it's only a good thing. It's really cool. It just basically, it totally expands your options now, while you can still get that really core, I think people think of a conservatory as very classical, but really we see ourselves as a very contemporary classical education. And, part of that reason being, we talked a bit about this too, and this is looping now back into our previous question, but, like I was saying, I think conservatory has some positive connotations, which it sounds like, sounds professional, sounds serious. As much as a degree is, in some ways, it's a piece of paper, but, it holds real weight, I think, having the word conservatory on there, because it implies a level of training, right? But there are also some hangups, I think. I think people think conservatory and think conservative, or they think, old-fashioned, which is really, we are working really hard to undo that kind of mindset, because we don't frame ourselves that way at all. If anything, like we were talking about, we want you to, the conservatory is a place we help you go on to be something greater, something, yourself, but more. So while, yeah, it's a conservatory and it's classical training, it's all from the lens and the mindset of you're going to leave here and be working. If you're not leaving here and you're not able to get a job and be profitable, market yourself, write a resume, get letters of recommendation. All these kind of business skills are baked into the curriculum because that's how it is nowadays. That's just the modern reality. Even if you want to be an orchestral player and you want to play mostly Brahms and Beethoven, you still probably need to know how to do things like build a website. You need to know how to, market yourself in the digital age. So we are very much built around the idea of building versatile artists, because in today's landscape, it's very rare. You can't really just go out and do one thing. So if you're a dancer, you're not just learning ballet with us. You're learning all of the modern techniques. You're learning hip hop. You're learning Ortner. You're learning Limon. Because when you get out there, we want you to be able to do whatever is thrown at you, because that's how the music industry is these days. So again, I hope that answered the question once again.
It does. No, you know what? I love your answer again, Zach. The thing about your answers right now, they're so current. The currency of the way you're responding is exactly the way we need to be dialoguing. Right now in secondary schools, there is a big push to push everything in the middle and make things more generalize everything, give kids more leeway to experiment with different things. And it's interesting. We were having a conversation yesterday with collaborative arts over at NYU Tisch, and you're saying a lot of what they're saying too, and that is specialization needs to happen in the process of becoming the full, complete artist, meaning that you are going to become a specialist at one thing, and at the same time, you're going to get introduced to all kinds of other pathways that are going to make you a more complete and versatile artist. And I think what we get caught up on sometimes is everything should be a playground all the time, as opposed to saying, no, it's not a playground all the time. It's about focusing. But while you're focusing in your discipline, you're going to learn so many other connecting components of your discipline, and maybe even other disciplines that you're going to be able to utilize in capturing the spirit of the entire artist. So it really is about perpetuating and propelling the notion of the complete artist, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and we, we're strong. I mean, these are almost buzzwords, but, stuff like artist for life, right? Which gets thrown around a lot. But I really think that's kind of the spirit behind the conservatory is you don't leave and you're done. We're not in the manufacturing business. We're in education, and we don't really think education stops, right? So it's like a tunnel. We're just a tunnel that you are passing through. You're not stopping though. And certainly we hope you speed up, right? We're trying to send you off into the world. So yeah, and I think that's great what you're saying too. I think there is kind of a big push. I think people kind of want more and more and more, and like, well, I want more options. And to be fair, I just kind of said that too, right? I'm like, well, you can go to Berkeley and explore all these options. But I think one reason what makes, the conservatory special is that you're getting both, because we really believe in that, like you're kind of saying, specialization. And that's is not intended, like we don't offer double majors, but we do offer minors in things other than the arts through Berklee College of Music. But the reason we don't offer double majors is because you don't have time. It's not, the curriculum is built such that you are getting that degree of training. You're getting hour lessons every week. If you're in a musician, you're getting large ensembles 2 to 3 times a week for hours. You're doing chamber music in the evenings. And this is all on top of your course load. And you have, again, speaking about music, like, you have a large ensemble concert every 2 weeks. Cycling. Same way, with theater, some of the theater folks are working, you have tech week, stuff like that. You're working all night some of the time. So there's not room in the curriculum to do something like a double major because it is so focused and it is specialized. Because I think, it's a little, I think we all kind of, when you first get into a hobby or art or something, someone like skateboarding, the first thing you have to do is, okay, you have to learn how to roll. Like, well, but rolling's boring. I want to jump off stuff. You're like, yeah, but if you get really good at just riding the skateboard, all of a sudden, coming back to that playground thing, everything's the playground now because you're so good at the fundamentals. That's kind of how we see the artist, whether you're a theater artist, for theater, it's acting. Acting is the basis. Yes, we sing and dance too, but you need to be able to act because acting lets you do so many different things. And we want you to be able to do anything that's thrown at you. So yeah, totally, 100%, I agree with you. I think with stuff like, I totally agree. That sentiment of like, well, everyone's kind of like, oh, I want more and more and more. But sometimes what you really need is someone to sit you down and say, okay, you need this. Let's work on this.
Yeah. We were having a conversation last night with a world musician named Q Violin. And Q was basically speaking to that exact same thing. He said, he was growing up. He started in Japan as a kid. Learning classical, came to the United States, continued learning classical, but recognized that he wanted to break out in terms of his musicality and understanding different types of music. In addition to that, though, because he was getting so good at what he was doing, he became curious about other instruments, right? And isn't it true that once you've got that foundation, you can begin to transfer a lot of that knowledge into other instruments per se, or other areas of where you've already specialized. So you, as somebody who is a French horn player, is it possible that you could pick up a saxophone? Is it possible that you could pick up a trumpet? Is it possible that you could pick up other wind instruments or even, percussion instruments?
Yeah, I mean, totally. Some people would view that as a contentious question, right? We all have our own inside jokes on different instruments and stuff, but I don't believe in those. I don't believe in instrument microaggressions. But absolutely. I did start on trumpet. So in a way, it transfers, but absolutely. This is getting too granular. I don't want to bore our dancers or theater artists out here tonight, but just even speaking as a wind player, right? There's so many fundamentals of the breath. This covers to all of the areas, really. Dance. Everyone talks about how integral the breath is, right? So just learning how to hold yourself in a way that, actually, I'm kind of hunched over right now because of my setup. So I bet if I sit up and talk a little bit, my voice changes, right?
You need your Alexander technique to bring you back in.
An amazing teacher for, by the way. Debbie Adams is her name. She's fantastic. If Alexander technique's something you're really into, we have a great teacher for it. And you can totally take that class as an elective at any level. So there again, we're speaking to these fundamentals again, which is really what, I think you could really probably speak to almost any of our faculty who are, incredibly diverse, but I can almost bet you almost any of them at the conservatory would tell you it's about fundamentals. Because the fundamentals give you the freedom, right? Once you're free to express, you're free to explore, because you have the toolkit. You can build anything with the toolkit, right? Because, you have the tools, build the chair, build a house, build a swing set, right? But it's really hard to hit a nail in if you don't have a hammer.
Right.
And sometimes you need a teacher to tell you, it's amazing you're doing that, but how have you been hitting nails in with the screwdriver this whole time? Which is how I felt as a horn player. There's some stuff I was doing. My teacher was like, that's actually kind of amazing because it shouldn't work. Right. How are you doing that for the upper register? But then, someone hands you the hammer and you're like, oh my gosh, I can hit nails.
Right. And that is such a great analogy, man, because we're often mistaking creativity for taking the, screwdriver and trying to hit the nail into the wall, right? That metaphor.
Yeah.
As opposed to
Once
saying,
you're a master, maybe you can do it because you're like, okay, well, no, actually, in this case, but that's a different thing. That's once you have the toolkit. But yeah,
that's right. Building the toolkit, man. I love that. And fundamentals being really the foundation for building that toolkit. That speaks again right to the heart of who we are at SCPA. Hey, listen, so students that are out there, this is a great conversation that we're having. If you have a question for Zach, by all means, put it up in the chat and we'll be more than happy to answer that. Zach is going to share his contact information with you all so that if you're interested in Boston Conservatory at Berkeley, you can contact him directly. But Zach, go ahead and speak a little bit to dance. We, like I said a little bit earlier before we started, we have a new faculty member that graduated from Boston Conservatory in with her BFA in dance, and big proponent of BOCO. Can we talk a little bit about the dance program and theater program?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I was gonna say maybe Andrew, if you want, maybe you could throw up that presentation material slide. I think that's what I titled it, so forgive me. But it has a QR code on there. Maybe while I talk about dance, yeah, there you go. If any of y'all out there, whether you're watching this later or now, if you open your camera app on your phone and you hold that up, that's gonna get you all signed up for everything from today's event. But this gives you cool stuff. Like if this was an in-person event, I give you some free pens and but the nice thing I give you is our view book. So we have a really cool digital version of our view book. So I highly recommend just scan that code. It gets you into our system. Tells you about upcoming events, which we have a ton of really cool ones that are actually admissions related. So I highly recommend, I don't know, if you thought I was even half interesting tonight, scan that and you can hear some more stuff, or honestly just chat and ask questions with admissions folks. But I hope you'll scan that. But yeah, I would love to speak a little bit about dance. So dance is really cool because we are, the foremost conservatory to actually have a dance program where I almost said fundamentals again, like saying we said it a million times. But the basis, the core of it is ballet and modern. So it's not a ballet program. It's not a modern. It is a dance program with ballet and modern at its core. So you're getting both. You're not just getting, and again, I think maybe people think conservatory, they think, well, ballet. Yeah, we do have ballet, but you are learning modern as well. And that's part of that mindset of making you a modern working artist. If you want to do ballet only or modern only, absolutely, you're going to get expert level training in that. But speaking to the toolkit again, we really want to give you the full toolkit because they inform each other. You will get better at modern by doing ballet. You're going to get better at, and vice versa. So I think that's really what kind of makes us stand out, is that you're getting that conservatory level expertise and training, but you're getting it in a program built for both, I don't want to say both styles because there's many styles and techniques within there. But in both those kind of fields that would, I would say be the primary working areas in today for a dancer. So we have dancers who have gone on from our program, to be here with you. But also we always like to shout out Ebony Williams. If you have seen the Single Ladies video, she is in the dance video. So she is part of Beyonce's dance crew. So, we don't just have ballet, dancers going out there. We have people going out there and dancing with Beyonce. And she comes back and brings Beyonce's band to do stuff with us in Berklee College of Music. So it's fantastic. So I guess I would encourage you, no matter what kind of dance you're into, look at us because we probably teach what you're interested in.
Awesome. Can you talk to us a little bit about the admissions process? What do students need to do? What are the steps?
Yeah, totally. Andrew, this would actually be a great chance to put up. This one I think is called reminders. It's funny, I pulled some slides from there we go. So it's not a reminder yet because I haven't told you, but once I tell you, it will be a reminder. So this QR code actually grabs you into our admissions page of both our steps on applying and everything like that. But so basically applying at our school is basically 3 steps. So the first part would be an online application. So that's the easy part, fill out your name, address, what major you're interested in, all the easy stuff. So that's at apply, berkeley.edu/apply. Also, if you just, Google search Boston Conservatory, click on our website, it's a big button at the top, hard to miss it. And you might see there that November 1st date. So that would actually make you eligible for early action for our undergraduate candidates. So if you turn in your online app by November 1st, you will be early action eligible, which means you get an admissions decision back from us earlier. So you actually will hear back with your decision and scholarship by January 31st. So that's a nice thing. But if you're someone you're like, hey, I need a little bit more time, and you missed that one, no worries. You can still apply for what we call a regular action deadline. So this would be good for undergrads or graduates out there. And that's by December 1st. So that's the first step. Turn in the online application. The second part would be supporting materials, things like transcripts, that kind of good stuff. And then the third part would be completing an audition. So that's 3 steps. So sorry, my camera is mirrored on here, so I'm like, where's my hand? Make sure you turn on the online app. That's the easy part. If you do it early, you get half app fee, so pretty good deal. Make sure you get your transcripts in from your high school. we have plenty of time to turn those in. Those can be turned in after that first date, and then you complete an audition with us. So yeah, not too many steps.
Let me ask you something about financial assistance, whether it be scholarship or grant opportunities or other means of financial assistance. What does BOCO offer?
Yeah, so we only offer merit-based scholarships. So we do not offer academic scholarships. That's one thing to keep in mind. And I will let you know just right off the bat, they really are based off your audition with us, because we're really, since we are a performing arts-based school, we are really kind of looking at that audition as our best chance to kind of get a sense of, okay, is this someone who's going to really blossom in their time here with us? Like, can we, what's the potential of this person? So really a lot of that is based on the audition, but in terms of, that's scholarship. So scholarship is all merit-based. It is competitive, so not everyone receives scholarship, but I believe the number we throw around is about 40% of our students receive some amount of scholarship. For financial aid, we are need-based or need-informed, we would say. So we do offer some financial aid based on your situation and everything. So always good to make sure as soon as the FAFSA, federal application for financial aid comes available, highly encourage you, regardless of what schools you're applying to, I highly recommend fill out the FAFSA, because I would hate for anyone to miss out on a chance to get some help they need just because they don't have a document in. So yeah, so scholarship is merit-based, primarily based on the audition and your application materials, like your interview as well. And then financial aid is need-informed, based on, of course, the federal materials you turn in for that.
Is there any kind of work study?
There is some work study. It is a bit more limited. That would be a bit more under our financial aid umbrella. To be completely honest, I'm not the most informed on that area. So I recommend if that's something that's important for you out there listening and you're looking at our school, explore our financial aid pages really in depth, or shoot them an email. They're really good. They're happy to kind of help counsel people on their specific situation. So, and I guess it's kind of that's another thing I'd be happy to kind of, elephant in the room to talk about. It's expensive. It's really expensive. It's an expensive school. It's a private school. It is a conservatory. You're looking at about $45,000 a year. That being said, like I said, about 40% of students receive some kind of scholarship. And then, of course, based on this situation, many are receiving financial aid. But it is an expensive school. So that's a serious thing to take into consideration. I am not here to put you, and we really strongly believe in this. Like I was just hearing, like the president of Berkeley was talking about this. We want students to go on and be successful with us. We're not here to trick you into jumping into something you can't afford or is not going to set you up well for the future. So I realize that's a very uncomfortable situation to have, especially, if you're just in high school, it's like, oh my gosh, some of you might not even have had a job yet. But, if you're looking at schools, I really recommend start that conversation with your parents, like, hey, do we have money saved up for me? Do we not? Like, am I going to need to work through school? Because that's just going to give you a good frame of reference when you're looking at programs and what's going to be realistically possible. That being said, I would always encourage you, if you're like, hey, BOCO is my dream school, still apply and audition, because, if we love you, we can try and help out. But I'm happy to, we're more than happy to acknowledge it is an expensive school, but we really do think, you're getting a lot of value for it. You're getting, like the teachers you're working with are working in the Boston Symphony down the street, experts in their field. So you're not, and we also, being a small school, we have just under 900 students. It's a 5-to-1 faculty to student ratio. So I can tell you in my time, I don't think I had a single thing that was run by a TA or a grad student. Everything was with faculty members and in small, either an ensemble setting or a small classroom setting. So I felt, almost at any time I could reach out to the teacher and talk to them, and they knew my name and everything. You're not sitting in the huge lecture hall and you're just a face in the crowd. Your professors know you, and your faculty know you here. And, now we're in the Berkeley network. You have this whole nother set of schools you have access to just as part of your program. It's not extra fees on top of that. It's, room in your schedule. You are welcome to take classes now at Berkeley. So Yeah, I'm happy to be totally upfront and honest about that. It is expensive, but I do think you are getting an incredible value for what it is. I think that the pricing is expensive but fair. Is what I would say.
Well, I mean, you're talking about something that affects a lot of our kids, which is the financial aspect. I think that one of the things that folks need to understand too is that while you're being honest about the cost of the investment, right?
Absolutely.
Which is great because you are part of an elite group of post-secondary and then graduate students in being part of Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. But we've had students that have gone through there who don't necessarily come from means here in San Diego. And how do they do it? They do that by all the different talking points that you mentioned when you put that what they call a financial package together.
Yeah.
How much you're going to get from the FAFSA, the federal government, whether that's going to be money that you have to pay back or whether that's money that's going to be given to you in the form of a grant. In addition to that, the merit scholarship piece. Let's say half of your tuition is paid just based on merit scholarship. Well, that's pretty significant. Then if you add to that, that you end up in a work study situation, you've got an additional bit of support. And then let's say that you also qualify under Boston Conservatory at Berkeley for that need, right? And there's further discussion about what your potential need is. Yes, you're still going to invest, but that 45,000 all of a sudden doesn't look like 45,000 anymore. Right?
Yeah, it gets much closer to, I went to UC Irvine for my undergrad. I did have some merit scholarship there as well. But like you kind of said, once you kind of do the math, if you're chipping away at it from all these angles, it can be comparable to somewhere, especially somewhere like UCLA. Certainly, it's comparable or cheaper to somewhere like USC, for example. So, I mean, and I think the word you used there was great too, investment, right? I think investment is a two-way street too. So yes, you are investing by paying, the school to get in, but we are also through things like scholarship and grant and need-based aid. We're investing back in you because we believe the better you do in life, the better it reflects on us as well. So I guess I don't know. I suspect maybe not too many admissions people come on and talk this extensively about school and making it happen, but it's a real part of it, and we totally recognize that. I mean, growing up in San Diego and stuff, I have plenty of friends where it's like that would have been really hard. I was very fortunate in my situation. I did receive some scholarship, but that's why I'm happy to talk about it because I have plenty of friends where that would have been very difficult, or they would have they need to be creative, access all these different pieces to chip away at it, like you're saying.
Well, I think for us, it's just about having the information, making sure that parents have enough information, students have enough information to make informed decisions about what they want to invest in and why. And because it's so easy in the state of California to simply say, you know what, I think I'm just going to go and I'm going to do my general ed at a community college, and then I'll look at making a transfer to someplace else. And I think that for a lot of students, that's a very reasonable
cost
journey, right? Yeah, absolutely. For the artist, there are so many different other kinds of opportunities that are available. You just need to have all of the information available to you so that you can make an informed decision. Because like you just said, Zach, you could end up in a situation that's very similar to staying in California financially, but being in a more elite institution, like Boston Conservatory, like the Berklee College of Music, like, the Juilliard School, whatever it is, using that creative side of your financial planning and financial opportunities that are available to you. It's a real conversation. It's one that we don't want to shy away from either, because we want to see our families be as informed as possible so that they can make the right decision about their student's next journey. And mostly it's about the student. What does the student want?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we just had, speaking of events we've been doing these faculty spotlights. So we just finished one. We had our oboe faculty, Robert Sheena, and we had a percussion faculty, Sam Solomon. But we were talking a bit about, percussionists, and he was talking about, what traits do you look in students? And he's like, preparation. And I just, I thought that was such a great point to make. I mean, not just for percussionists, but for artists in general. Preparation is so integral to everything we do because we're in the performing arts, and that requires preparation. Every time you're practicing, you're preparing for performance, right? In some way or another, whether you know it or not. So just the earlier you can prepare this stuff, I think is always going to be better. Whether that's preparing how you're going to look at your finances, preparing, okay, what do I want out of a school? Preparing, okay, I want to go to Boston Conservatory. Look at their website. Look at our website now. Start looking at audition requirements today. If you have a private teacher, you should start bringing our audition requirements to them next lesson and getting this stuff ready, because the earlier you get started, it's only going to benefit you. So that's just advice. I feel like that's not even conservatory related, but yeah, absolutely. The earlier you can do that, the more informed you will be, the better you will do. I agree with you. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Okay, SCPA Lions out there, we're going to bring us to a close. Today's conversation has been such a good one. Zach, thank you so much for coming and joining us, man. This has been inspiring because there's so much that you have shared today that is not just part of our own talking points, but there's so much that you've been able to elaborate upon that I think gives our students enough to walk away with. And even if there aren't questions today, there might be questions tomorrow. So for all of you that are out there that are listening, Zach will make sure that his contact information is made available to you. And by all means, go out and do your research. Take a look at Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. Take a look at Berkeley as well, and take a look at all of the other schools that are out there and available to you. Zach, do you have any closing thoughts to give to students out there?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe, Andrea, this would be a good time to throw up the questions slide, and then maybe we'll throw up one after that. That email is a good email to reach us at conservatoryadmissions@berkeley.edu. Actually, I have another one I can share with you guys as well. 1 second here. I'm going to share it in our private chat here. I almost wrote berkeley.com. That would be wrong. So yeah, this email is great to reach us about like any general kind of questions about admissions. So that's conservatoryadmissions@berkeley.edu. We'll also make sure this gets shared with you, but if you want to speak to someone like myself, an admissions counselor or an admissions representative, we have another one. It's easy to remember if you happen to be writing these down later. It's just bcb@berkeley.edu. So that one actually goes straight. Oh, wow, that's amazing. This is such a cool platform. I actually haven't worked with this one, but I'm very impressed. So yeah, that is a great one to reach us. That goes directly to someone like myself or my colleagues in the admissions team. So if you have kind of in-depth questions on programs or auditioning or audition requirements, that's the email to use for sure. Let's see. And then maybe could we throw up that BCB next steps 3 slide, if you could, Andrea. This is great. I love having this happen. Usually I'm the person doing this and I'm talking, so this is fantastic. So yeah, this one, again, like I said, if you thought today's talk was compelling and my ramblings and philosophy at all reflect the school, start your application. So again, that's berkeley.edu/apply. And if you liked that video in the beginning, you can scan that QR code. It'll take you to it. It's very cool. It looks kind of interesting, stretched out on the screen, kind of like that, the globe map chart, I'm talking about. It's cool, though, if you're on your phone, because you can actually just hold it like a VR headset and move around. It's a good way to get a sense of the performing spaces and the dorm. So just wanted to make sure that one got shared. But yeah, I guess maybe my closing thing would just be like, I guess today we did a bit more of a chat, I think, more so than, a lot of times I have a slide deck and it's kind of, okay, this is what we do in dance, this is what we do in theater, et cetera, et cetera. But, I hope kind of a big thing we believe in at the conservatory, and I think a big reason I went to the school and why, one reasons we have people who, come to our school and stay, or stay for a second degree and stuff like that, is really we have a strong community. So I hope maybe that sense of like care and kind of direct focused conversation we had today is reflective of really kind of our belief here at the conservatory as well, which is just being honest and clear and focused and welcoming, really honestly. I really hope, if anything, you got the sense today that the conservatory is not this scary place that like, oh, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't apply. Like it's too much or too anything. We're super welcoming, you know, and I know it's on everybody's minds right now, but like diversity is a massive thing we're working on. Like we know we are not diverse enough, but you know, I think it's over 32% of our last incoming class was identified as, you know, Alana or people of color, etc. We have like, I'm trying to think, I think we have increased our enrollment of, you know, students who identify as Black or African American or BIPOC by 68% in the last 3 years. It's the core strategic directive of our school. So if anything, I hope you leave today really feeling like the conservatory is somewhere we want you, and we want you where you're at. So if you're interested, please apply. We'd love to have you, regardless of who you are, where you're at, where you're from. We'd love to see you. So throw in an application.
Awesome. Zach, this has been an outstanding conversation, man. And, you know, we've always had folks come in and do the PowerPoint presentations. There's something about just having a discussion about the whole. And that oftentimes gives our students and our parents a little bit better perspective of what it is that we're talking about. That these are not, you know, these are not institutions that are like you said, are not accessible. If anything, they're incredibly accessible. And then when you have that serious conversation about what your student's next step is going to look like, you want to have as much information as possible so that you can make the best decision possible. Yeah. So again, Zach Sahms, thanks so much for being here with us today, guys. And if any of you have any questions, please reach out to us at SCPA. I can be reached at rtrujillo@sandy.net. You have Zachary's email address as well. We thank you for tuning in and watching us today. And we look forward to our next College and Conservatory conversation. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. It's great.